It is true that chicken thigh may be a little bit tougher, but it'll give you a juicier, more flavorful end product. And it's really a great budget option. Hey, I'm Ajay from The Culture of Cookery, and welcome to another episode. Today we are talking about chicken thighs. Now, chicken thighs are one of the most coveted parts of the chicken in my opinion. I love to use them because I just think that they're so versatile, and you know what? They're really hard to do wrong. Today what I want to do is show you a quick and simple recipe that I really love. It's really inspired by Jamie Oliver's 5-ingredient recipe. Now, this is not a sponsored video by any stretch of the imagination, but if you are a beginning home cook out there, I highly suggest grabbing this book for one main reason. Each recipe is really about 5 main ingredients with a couple of staples that you should have around the house. One of the things that I hate is having to accrue all of this other stuff just to make one dish, and sometimes a bunch of things that you'll never use again. But with the recipes in here, it's a really great way to consolidate your shopping and just, buy a few things that you can reuse. And I feel like it's a really great way to learn how to cook. So what you're going to start off with is your chicken thighs. Now here we have our chicken thighs that we deboned. You want to take off the skin. Now taking off the skin is going to do two things. It's going to, number one, allow the hoisin sauce to kind of penetrate all the parts of the meat without giving us that kind of sloppy, wet skin. And number two, it's going to give us a garnish, a crispy chicken garnish that we're going to use at the end. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that chicken skin, just peel it back. It's actually super easy. And then season both the chicken skin and the chicken itself with a little bit of salt and pepper and a little bit of oil. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take the chicken skin and put it into a cold pan. That's right, a cold pan. By putting the skin into the pan cold, it allows the skin to heat up and that fat to render out properly. While that's happening, you're going to create your hoisin marinade. What you're going to do is take a couple tablespoons of hoisin, a couple teaspoons of red wine vinegar. Now what the red wine vinegar is going to do is, number one, it's going to thin out that hoisin sauce, making it a little bit more spreadable. But number two is it's going to cut through some of the natural sweetness of the hoisin sauce and kind of balance it out just a little bit better. Now what I have here is just a regular hoisin sauce. There are many different kinds of hoisin sauce. If you go to the store, there's like a spicy hoisin that you could use. Unfortunately, Lynn's is still feeding Obi, and so this meal also went to the kids, and so I can't do anything spicy there. So if you can, I highly suggest doing that. So once our chicken skin is finally finished crisping up and it's a nice golden brown on both sides, you're going to take that out. You're going to leave that residual oil in there because that's what you're going to cook the chicken thighs in. You're going to take the chicken thighs and you're going to put them down on the side that the skin was on. Cook them for a couple of minutes. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your hoisin glaze, your hoisin sauce, and you're going to start glazing the sides. Pro tip here, if you do this too early, what's going to happen is you're probably going to burn that hoisin and it's not going to be the greatest flavor. So what I would suggest is cooking on one side and then flipping it over and then brushing that cooked side with the hoisin glaze. As you can see in the video here, I kind of did it a little bit wrong. It turned out fine at the end. I just had to adjust the temperature a little bit lower so as not to burn the sugars in the hoisin too early. While the chicken thighs are getting all happy with the hoisin sauce, what you're also going to do is you're going to take some green onions. The part that is more white, that's a more kind of sharper oniony flavor, whereas as you get closer to the top, the greener part, it's actually a little bit milder in flavor. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just take the white bits and I'm going to throw that in with the chicken after it's been glazing so that the chicken gets a little bit of onion, a little bit of hoisin, a little bit of that red wine vinegar flavor, and I'm going to save the tops for a garnish. Now what I have here are two kinds of oranges, navel oranges and blood oranges. I've done this recipe with just navel oranges. It's completely fine. The blood oranges just add a little bit more. So what you're going to do is you're going to peel those oranges. I'll trim off both ends first, and then I'm going to come down each of the sides. You want to make sure not to take too much of the fruit off, otherwise you're just wasting it. But there's a natural curve to the fruit, so you just kind of follow your knife all around, and if you don't hit it on the first run, that's totally fine. You're just gonna come back over that afterwards to make sure that you get all the white part. Again, that white part is the rind is bitter, and you don't really want that in your meal. Pro tip here is you want to make sure that your knife is sharp, because if you don't have a sharp knife, you're just going to be kind of pushing the juice off and it's not going to be fun. So you can use a big chef's knife like I have been using here, or if you have like a smaller paring knife, that works as well too. Once your chicken is nicely glazed, you're going to take it off the heat. What I have here is a farro salad. I boiled the farro in salted water for about 6 minutes. I cut up some snap peas, some cherry tomatoes, dressed it with a little bit of salt, pepper, lemon juice, and extra virgin olive oil, and you got yourself a great side. I placed the chicken on top, arranged the oranges on the outside kind of nicely, and then sprinkled it off with the tops of our green onion. And so I just wanted to throw this one out at you. It's a really easy recipe for chicken thighs, great for families. You got the sweet of the hoisin, balance it with the tart of the red wine vinegar. You have the fresh juiciness of an orange, the light mild spice of the green onion, and then in my case I just had a little bit of farro and just to round it out there. So I hope that look into how to use the chicken thigh was helpful. Again, chicken thigh, one of my favorite cuts because it's so hard to get wrong. If you're a beginner cook out there, I'm telling you, this is the part of the chicken you want to start off cooking. Especially when you take the bone out, you're gonna have little to no problem getting it cooked properly, and you won't have to worry about it being red near the bone or undercooked like that. I highly suggest getting your hands on a chicken thigh. If you want to learn how to butcher your own chicken, check out our first video in part 1 of my chicken manifesto. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.